right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Bownerds Podcast, where we are your most consistent hosts ever. AJ and I have finally reconnected since having I had a baby in July. You were what? October? November? No.
November 1st.
November?
You can't.
November 1st.
Right in time for the rut.
Oh, man. That's, the best time to have a baby. No doubt about it.
He
Mine
didn't
was just...
want to miss it, man. He pulled the shoots 3 weeks early. He's like, I'm not missing this. I want to celebrate
He's like,
my birthday in the stand every year.
oh, dude, for reals. That you have like 1 or 2 years when they're young, or the year that they're born, where you have to sacrifice not being able to hunt the rut. But now, for the rest of his life, you'll be hunting the rut on his birthday. So, old Mav is just gonna be spoiled.
Yeah, dude, little Maverick. He decided to pull the shoots a couple weeks early. It was a stressful couple weeks in the NICU. Spent just staring at him and bucks running by my trail camera. But everybody's happy and healthy now, including the bucks who got away. And should be a good season this year. For sure.
I'm glad to hear that your wife and Maverick are doing good. That's a scary time. Thanks, man. Yeah, dad life is the best life so far. So those of you guys that have kids, you can obviously relate. There's tough times, but way better times than the rest. But I mean, we're sitting here just talking and realize we need to just push record, kind of catching up with each other one-on-one, because we never even talked to each other. So,
well, I lived my entire hunting season vicariously through you, so I'm really stoked to hear about your success, because I saw you had a whole bunch of last day buzzer beaters, so I can't wait to hear about it.
It's like I almost need an episode per hunt, because I mean, November was my buck, December was my bull, and January was my buffalo. And
none of them were disappointing.
Dude.
None of them were cull animals.
Okay, here's the thing. You don't even know the story of the buffalo yet. I haven't shared it on Instagram or YouTube or anything. There's a specific thing that happened on this hunt that we were gonna wait to launch when the film comes out. That is literally like when I tell people, I get one of two reactions. I get, you're a complete idiot. Like, how stupid are you? Or, okay, that's the most badass thing I've ever heard. Like, you've got some big balls to do that. Because it, like, I probably should have died.
Dude, well, don't ruin it then. Save it for me.
I'll keep it that, because the film, dude, is... I'll record some voiceovers tomorrow with the guys over at Method Archery. So Isaac is doing the editing of it. He filmed it and stuff too. So I've got to do some.
I actually met those guys at Winter Strong, so it was cool to.
Oh, really? Oh, sick.
The separation. Yeah, man. So I've got we don't we have an episode from them like still in the bank somewhere?
Yeah. When they, yeah, the one that I failed to upload. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I met them at Winter Strong, and we were just, BS and talking arrows. Super good dudes. I think they actually got some arrows my way to mess around with. I did give them a hard time because their wraps look like less cool versions of mine, but super good dudes. And yeah, man, I was stoked to hear that they were on that hunt with you, and it looked like a pretty epic time.
It was like the biggest roller coaster of emotions. Like, I had never felt so high and so low on any experience in life. Like, you'll ask my wife. I posted that video on Instagram for those of you guys that haven't seen. It's like 520,000 views on it now, of me bawling my eyes out. And my wife wanted to comment like, he didn't cry this much at our wedding, didn't cry this much when we had a baby, didn't cry this much when he proposed. Like, goes up. And I'm like just sobbing. Like, I tried to film and like talk to because at the time of when I had gotten the animal, Isaac was far behind me because I was sprinting. So I hurried and pulled out my camera so I could tell the camera what was going on. And I just broke down, just freaked, just cried my eyes out. And when you see the whole story play out, like, it makes sense why some man would be just crying like this little baby. But anyway, that was, Isaac is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I mean, we had done the podcast and then texted, called every once in a while, and just talked hunting and archery and stuff. And then we meet for the first time. He flew here to Utah, and we went out and spent 10 days together. So you get to really know somebody after 10 days hunting nonstop with them.
Love them or hate them after
Exactly.
That, so.
Yeah. So
for those that don't know, Method, formerly Vector Custom Arrows, now Method. Good dudes, cool products. They've got a cool ordering system. I just explored through it the other day where you can go in, they've got a couple of options for spines, point weights, veins, vein configuration. So it's not a fully custom setup, but they kind of keep it in the parameters. So it's a great bridge between, for those people that are they want to upgrade from just the off the shelf 6-packs but they're not quite ready to get in bits and burger and be working on their own veins and things like that. This is a great segue where you're still getting a super high quality product, but and semi-custom, but you're not putting all that back-end investment in.
yeah, it's nice because somebody will ask me hey, I'm shooting a PSE at 70 pounds, 29-inch draw. What arrow should I get? And I just say go to methodarchery.com and put in your specs and everything, and they will literally lay it out. Okay, this is the spine you're going to go if you have 100 grain, 125, 150, whatever up front. And so I don't even take the time. Not that I don't care, but it's utilize their website that they have. And this is a shameless plug for Method right now. They're just...
We're gonna have to loop them in for sponsorship after this.
Oh, for sure.
You out enough, but...
Yeah, they... It was... Speaking of helping me out, I needed arrows, obviously, for my buffalo hunt, and they're filming it, and so they obviously need their arrows, and it was in the switch between Vector and Method, but they didn't know the name was going to be Method yet. It was literally the week before the necessary change for the company name. So I didn't have arrows because he was thinking he'll get me some new pair, he'll fly out with them. And so they ended up shipping some overnight, completely wrong arrows. Something happened and I got somebody else's order. So I have 4-inch arrows over length and what I needed. And anyways, so I call Isaac. I'm like, dude, you're flying out tomorrow and I don't have arrows for my buffalo.
Cut the back ends off. That's
Exactly. So he saved the day, brought 24 with him when he flew out here, and I hadn't shot those arrows, nothing. And finally, they had changed their nocks, and I was shooting practice, but it wasn't consistent. And finally, Isaac was none of us could figure out what was going on. We're changing my rest, changing my sight, and can't figure out what the heck's going on. And yeah, there was just a good knock pinch, much fatter knock on the new ones. And so I ripped all those out and put my old ones in, and it was money. So I'm glad we figured that out before I had to shoot a buffalo.
I was actually talking, that's funny because I was talking to them a long time about their knock design because I was super stoked on that because I like a short, fat knock.
This little guy?
Yep.
This one I think is a prototype. The newer ones are a little bit different than this.
Yeah, I think they were talking about they beveled that throat a little bit more, so you weren't getting that knock pinch issue that you were probably getting.
Well, the knock pinch, I got so many freaking arrows right here. So the knock pinch was with these knocks, so they were a lot fatter. Obviously, you can see right there in the video, much fatter than what I was shooting. So these ones are tiny profile. And so I had 6 bags of these, luckily, in my truck. And so, dude, my room is a mess.
Bags.
Hey, yours actually looks good. Mine looks like trash.
That was my project while we were in the baby bubble. I reorganized. I have my closets camo color coded. And
that's sick.
There's a wall, a pegboard wall behind my computer right now. But then now I've been shooting some photos for Everly stock, so I've just got bags of crap everywhere because I'm just mixing and matching gear just for photo stuff. But yeah, it's a mess.
That's awesome. How is the photography stuff going for you?
Dude, it's cool. It's so I mean, when you and I kicked up, we were both kind of doing our own YouTube thing, and then in the last year to 6 months, companies have companies that like I've been shooting their stuff and using their stuff, and like we've had relationships for a while. We're like, hey, like would you start doing some photography stuff for us, which is really cool. I really like being behind the camera, and from like I guess Coda perspective and Bownerds perspective, like it gives me more insight and more hands-on with more product, not as in-depth because I'm constantly like turning stuff over, but it's cool from that perspective to have a little more of like a inside look at some of this stuff. But yeah, super stoked. It's really cool, and the nice thing about the type of photography I do, I can do it when the baby goes to bed, so it's not impinging on the 9 to 5 yet. But yeah, man,
awesome.
I'm stoked on it. I got to get back to YouTube, and I'm glad that we're kicking the podcast back up. Thank you to the loyal listeners and those that reached out and said they missed it. You guys kicked us in the butt to get it going again, so appreciate that.
Yeah, the help for motivation to know that people actually listen to it. So
we thought we were just making it for ourselves. So.
I mean, we basically are. It's just it's just being able to talk to cool people or just to catch up with ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man. Well, how did I know that you had your baby in the nick of time for hunting season, but I do know that you spent some time out there here and there. How did that go?
Yeah, man, it was like a trending upward season that went sideways real quick as soon as Little Maverick came, but it was yeah, I mean it was a lot of like low percentage hunts because I knew I was going to be running that edge of when the due date was, but went up to New York for spring bear, not for spring bear, but for early bear in September. I didn't end up getting one. My dad got one. You guys have probably heard me talk about like our property. It backs up to some public land where they release the nuisance bears, and we've got a big logging road that runs the ridge of our property up there, and so it's every fall it's loaded with acorns, and we always take a bear off of the property, at least one every year. So it's just a matter of like who's it going to come by. So
That's sick.
So that was cool. Yeah, it was a little sow, nothing crazy. We definitely we're for sure never going to be accused of being trophy hunters in upstate New York, but that was fun. Anytime you get to hunt with Dad is always a good time, and I got to spend time with the nieces, and then did a really cool hunt in Illinois for the opener there, but again, super hot. Bow opener in Illinois is not a high percentage hunt, but what was cool is I was there with Bushnell and Quiet Cat put this hunt together. So Ryan Haynes, who I think you know as well, Bo Martonic, Kalen Moss, Jay Maxwell, and a couple other guys, like just super cool.
That's sick.
Other than Ryan, hadn't met any of those guys in person before. So really cool camp. We didn't get any kills on the ground. I think I probably had the highest percentage. We had gotten off the plane. I hadn't checked my bow yet. I knew it was good to 40, but I wasn't sure what my pins were beyond that because I just put a new tape on like 2 days before leaving, and I had a buck come out, definite shooter, 50 yards, first night, last light, can barely see through my peep, and I'm like, oh, it's literally 3 minutes before end of legal shooting light, and I was like, it's first day. I'm not sending it at 50. And sure enough, that was my best chance all week. But that was anybody's best chance all week, actually.
Oh, man.
But it was all right. It was a super fun camp. I didn't kill a lot of beers, but a lot of beers were crushed in that camp. And I believe I woke up that Thursday morning. It was like the second last morning, and they were still going from the night before, some of them. And I'm like, I've got a coffee, and I'm like cheersing them with like a Red Bull vodka. It was... I don't know how they were able to ride the Quiet Cat into the stand, but
that's awesome.
But yeah, man, that was fun. And then hunting here in Florida, dude, it was a new challenge. I'm super stoked on it. I got access to a buddy's property, so it's kind of suburban hunting. But it was had like all of a sudden, end of October, had a couple of decent shooters pop up on camera, but just couldn't get day walking. So. Of course, the only time they were day walking was that from November 1st to November 4th, which I was in the hospital at that time. But I tried hunting them after that and just never had any luck. They just never came out during the day again. But so this year I'm going to be setting up. I got a feeder on a timer to try and just train them a little more and pull them away because I know there's a guy hunting like less than, a mile away. I can see his feeder and his stand from the road. So I'm literally like where we're hunting, where there's a sanctuary like off where like there is no hunting, and that's definitely where we're both pulling deer from. So
Yeah.
got a good strategy in place for this year, and hopefully, I think Florida's got like a 4 deer bag limit, and they can only,
Really?
yeah, like something ridiculous.
I didn't know that.
Because the antlerless, they're more concerned with you taking does, at least what it seems like, right? Because they have like a 4 possession limit, and like no more than 2 can be antlerless. And I think the reason is because their antlerless season runs pretty short. I think because it's so hot here, they can just be pregnant for so long that they don't want to risk you taking out any pregnant does. That's like
Mm,
what I've been told. I could be totally ignorant, and maybe somebody listening knows better than me.
that would
Yeah,
make
man,
sense.
it's cool though, dude. It's cool, and then yeah, I'll be back up to New York. I think we're doing. My dad got access. We're doing some Seek One style hunting up in some mansions up on Long Island come October.
Dang.
But
Heck yeah.
yeah, man. So fingers crossed. We're coming back with a vengeance this year. So
It's going to be a killer year for you. I can feel it. It's going to be so sick. I've got to hopefully keep my luck
yeah,
running.
man, dude.
And
Well, I was gonna say the elk that you killed was a freaking beast, like just an absolute
dude,
monster.
like for an over the counter Utah general archery extended hunt, it just goes on and on and on for what that hunt is. Like the success odds, especially on a bull of that caliber, is like 0.01%. Like it's nothing. And I mean, my buddy Jared was a stud. I mean, I've shared the story on a couple podcasts and stuff, but like for those of you guys that haven't heard the story, I'll kind of recap the short version of this bull. But I had, let's see, it was the last week of the extended hunt, which runs, it ends December 15th. And so it was kind of December 7th to the 15th, somewhere in there, that I had already shot a deer November 31st and was just trying to see if I can come upon an elk. I'd gone out twice just by myself, and mind you, you find elk, but it's like super steep. I mean, I'm in knee deep to thigh deep snow, and the oak brush is stupid thick. Like you can be 5-10 yards away from something and you're not going to kill it because of the oak brush. And I mean, Isaac can attest because I called him for like 400 arrows because I lose them in the oak brush because I just start shooting. And anyway, so I hunt a couple times. I had gotten really close. I had cut the distance to about 200 yards to a group of 5 bulls, anywhere from like 300 to 350 inch bulls. Like they were all just studs, and they took off, went up and over the mountain, and I was like 8-9 miles in by myself. Like I hiked as far as I went in, and then thought, well, this is it for me. I'm not going back out because I'm not going to make it. Like I can't turn back. Like I was exhausted. I didn't have what I needed. Should have had my snowshoes and more snacks. But anyway, so I figured, okay, this is the last time I'm going out. Like I don't have the time, the energy, the money, whatever. I'm just calling it quits for this season. I put in good work. And so I go, let's see, it's December 14th. So the day before the end, the last day, I had quit work a little bit early and come home. I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, look, you let me hunt X, Y, and Z amount. Like, I freaking, thank you. Today's a day for you. I got off work early. I'm going to just stay home, help you. Anything you need, laundry, dishes, whatever. Like, let's chill. Not 30 minutes
Putting
later.
your sweat equity right there.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to win back my brownie points for next season type of thing, right? And not 30 minutes later, my buddy Jared calls me, and he's like, I've got a bedded bull. Get here now. And I'm like, frick. Like, so I look at my wife, and I'm like, Haley, I'm okay if you say no, but Jared called me, said he's got a bedded bull. He said it's totally killable. What do you think? And she's a stud. She's like, well, I'm not gonna stand between you and a giant bull. Like, go out. The season ends tomorrow. Like, it's okay. So I owe her.
Baby mama, right there.
Exactly. That's her contact in my phone, baby mama. And anyway, so long story short, I get up there and bull's still bedded, so we kind of make this game plan, and it's dumping snow, and we had just gotten like fresh 18 inches of powder, and it's dry snow, so like you can run and you can't hear anything. Like, it's just dead silent. So I'm like, this is money, but it's steep, it's thick oak brush again, and Jared stays back, and in Utah you are allowed to use form of communication, so radios or phones or whatever. So I throw in an AirPod, and I'm on the phone with him, and I'm just booking it, trying to get to him as fast as I can. There was like 3 canyons, and I get up past the first one, then the second one, and I see the bull. He had stood up and he's feeding. This bull had been shot on muzzleloader a month prior in his front right shoulder, to where that leg was just gone. Like, it was just blew up his shoulder blade. And so he was really on 3 legs. So that was, going to help to my benefit. And so we're trying to come up with which direction I should come in with the wind. The wind's kind of swirling. It's kind of stormy. And anyway, I'm like, I got to get aggressive, and I just got to go straight to him. Like, we got to figure out, see what happens. Like, he's on 3 legs. I can definitely outrun an elk on 3 legs, right? So I get in. Jared has to move spots where he's glassing from, gets up on this other ridge, and I can see where the bull was, but I can't see the bull. Jared can now see the bull, and he can't see me. So I keep coming up towards him, or towards the bull, and Jared's like, I still can't see you. I still can't see you. And finally, he sees me as I crest kind of up on top, and he's like, okay, you're within 100, so just be chill, quiet, move slow, whatever. And so he's guiding me in through this oak brush, trying to get in this opening. The bull's feeding right to me into this opening. And he's like, okay, if you get to the edge of this bush, that bull's going to feed right on this edge, and you're going to have like a 50-yard shot. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get there, and he's like, okay, how far is that bush right there? I'm like, 15 yards. He's like, what? Dude, the bull's right there. And there was just the little ridge that he was coming up right there. So I couldn't see him. And sure enough, that bull was right there, just feeding to me at 15 yards. Well, mind you, we had some other friends that were a couple ridges over that he also called while I was on my way up, just to, let anyone and everyone have a chance to shoot this bull, in case I didn't make it there in time. But they were coming. He calls them, hey, stop, Braxton's 15 yards, don't move. I don't know if the wind swirled or he heard them or saw them or whatever. So he spooks, takes off down the hill. I start booking it. The bull runs out on the other side of this ridge. I range at 75. I fling an arrow like way too fast, just because, the time was slim and the opportunity that I had. And I graze his butt, like just right behind him. And I'm like, frick. He takes off. I range him again at 100, and he's just walking directly away, kind of up this hill, so I can see his entire back. And he's wounded really bad, so I'm like, okay, if I can just get an arrow in him, it might slow him down even more. So I draw back, shoot, hit him in the freaking butt. Like, I'm like, okay, well, now I got blood. We'll keep tracking. We'll just, pound it. Like, we got 6 hours before dark. Like, we'll be okay. So I start running. The video, it's on my YouTube that I had posted about it. And I'm like sprinting, but I can't run because I'm so exhausted. Like, I literally thought I was going to die. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, you guys were in some deep snow.
It was bad. Right there, right at this moment, it was on that hillside as I was coming down, it was above my knee about 6 inches. So it was thigh deep, and I'm running, trying to run, obviously. And this bull's limping on 3 legs, and he's cruising. He doesn't care. And Jared's still on the phone. He's like, he's coming straight to me. He's coming straight to me. This bull, sure enough, is walking straight back to our trucks. Like, he's going right back to where I just came from. And there's a little creek. So he dumps into the creek, and I'm way far. I'm just following his tracks at this point, so I can't see him. And Jared can't see him because he dumped into the creek. And I can't see tracks going across the creek. It's like, crap, is he upstream or downstream? I don't know. Like, what the heck? So I go downstream looking to see if he came out. I go upstream looking to see if he came out. Nothing. So I just kind of like stop, take a breath, because I'm like, I'm dying. Like, I literally feel like garbage. And I think, what would be an indicator? So then I start looking at branches at antler height. I'm like, his antlers are going to be smacking these snow covered branches. So that's, I think, my only tell. So I look, sure enough, I can see branches that have been hit by antlers and no snow on them. So I'm like, hey, he went upstream. That's as good as guess as I'm going to get. So I take off upstream, and freaking the first year I've ever used gaiters before, I'm so, like, literally my knees were, like, the water was to my freaking knees, and my feet and legs stayed dry from my gaiters. I don't know how, but it, yeah. And mind you, it's 10 degrees, it's snowing, it's freezing. Like, I'm very, very lucky that my Lathrop and Sons boots stayed completely dry, and my gaiters from King's Camo just, I don't know. They're not waterproof. They're not meant to be fully waterproof, but they were, I guess.
I'm
And
gonna circle back around to that because I know you were running a whole bunch of new kit this year that I want.
yeah, I've got a bunch of new stuff, but I'm almost there. So I'll go upstream. I jump him again at 25. It's too thick. I can't get a shot. He runs back the way he just came, and I tracked him. So I get back on his tracks. There he is, 45 yards. I shoot hard, quartering away, and I was just trying to slip it right on the edge of his, like, rib cage and just get it straight up. I'm like, frick, I just missed. Like, I didn't see anything. He didn't kick. I mean, it's snowing. It's foggy. Like, it's kind of hard. So I just sprint right at him. Like, I'm just going to run straight at him because he's tired. I mean, he's struggling. So I'm just running. Like, if I can get within another 40 yards, I'll just keep shooting. At this point, I think I have 2 arrows left. And I get up there, and there's blood everywhere. And I'm like, okay. So I hit him. I hit him good. It's dark red, so it's got to be liver. So we give it an hour, and sure enough, follows blood 30, 40 yards into the brush, and he's laying still alive in the river. So at 6 yards, I put another one through his heart and got him. But it was absolutely insane. And I mean, to make it visual, in case you guys haven't seen photos or anything on my Instagram, it's a 7x2. So he broke off on his right side in September during the rut, and so he's 7 points on his left. Still has his 2 brow tines on that right side. And if he scored identical on both sides and whatnot, he'd be 359 inches. So he's a giant bull for an over the counter, especially Utah bull.
He was a thick boy, nice dark rack.
Yeah, and he really wasn't that old though. Like, that was the thing. Like, his teeth were still pretty, like, full. But I don't know. It was the first big bull that I've killed, so I can't tell you I know how to age them or anything, but he tastes good.
And that was Jared. Is that Jared Thomas?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
He's a stud.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah. For anybody, shout out to Jared.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a new handle now. I don't know what his new handle is.
Peaked Out Adventures.
Yeah. Check him out.
Which I tried to get him to do Peaked Out Outdoors, so then his acronym could be POO, but he didn't go for it.
Yeah, Jared works super hard. Awesome dude. Got to hang out with him at an event a couple years ago. Like, just really, really good dude.
Oh, you've met it?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
yeah, we helped
sick.
out at a veteran adaptive shoot that Isaac Alman Sr. Helped put on for Black Rifle Coffee probably like 3 or 4 years ago before one of the Park City TAC events.
Oh, way sick.
Yep.
Way sick.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Elements for...
Yeah, for anybody listening that hasn't heard, like, on a tragic note, Isaac's daughter who was struggling, special needs her entire life, passed this last week. So
sad.
there's a GoFundMe that the Hush crew put on that I think has gone above and beyond the goal. And then there's also our buddy Ryan Haynes, who we mentioned earlier, is also putting on a raffle, giving away an insane prize pack, a PSE XF30. I threw in a Montana Knife Company BRCC MagnaCut Speed Goat. I think there's a whole tethered suite in there. Method is thrown in arrows. I want to say there's a Mystery Ranch pack. It's like $4 or $5 grand worth of stuff in there. So,
wow.
If you didn't feel like jumping on the GoFundMe, but you want the opportunity to win a whole bunch of dope stuff and give to a great cause, because Isaac and his family is like the best in the biz. Like, just some of the nicest people I know in general, just like on this planet. Definitely, jump on that for sure and help them out, because they're the best.
Yeah, there's some good people.
Yeah, yep, for sure. Well, dude, after that year, what have you planned anything for this year, or because it's not even, you can't even put in yet, right, for out west?
Can't put in for Utah yet, but I did put in for Arizona. I have 0 points, but I went and found the best odds. There was a couple like late season archery elk hunts on decent units. I mean, nothing crazy, but like late season's late season, and I just hunted the crap out of late season this entire season, basically the whole last year. So I'm hoping maybe I'll drop. I think the success ratio for a non-resident was like 50%. It was 50-50. So it's like 0 points, 50-50. I'll throw that in. I'm going to do Colorado elk. Try to plan that during the rut. So if you're interested, AJ, if you want to come to Colorado on the over-the-counter.
I'll let you know right now. I'm budgeting days. I might be doing an Africa trip in August. So.
Oh, are you? Sick, dude. That'd be way sick.
Yes, so we'll see if that pans out, and if that doesn't pan out, then I might be going to Colorado with it. So.
Sick, yeah, dude. Open invite. Then August archery deer, if I draw that here in Utah, which I would imagine that I should, and then over the counter elk here in Utah as well. They kind of changed up the elk seasons here in Utah this year, so I got to figure out which route I want to take. They went like unlimited rifle tags for late season hunts, so I'm kind of worried about that, because if I had a rifle, you know how easy it'd be to go kill bulls every single day. Like I hate saying that, because like so many people are like, I've hunted that so many times and never killed them, but it's like when you go out archery hunting, I mean, I'm 200-300 yards away from these bulls every single day, but I can't get any closer, and I can't get a shot even at 15 yards. Like, so I don't mean to step on people's toes when they freak out when I say I could kill one every single day with a rifle.
No, listen, everybody gets sensitive with that stuff, but it's like, I'm sure trad guys say the same thing about compound shooters, right?
For sure.
It's just one of those things. Like, you always feel like, if only. So,
could you imagine going out and hunting with a trad bow? Like,
I listen, more power to those guys. And I have zero against it. It just doesn't, like, for whatever reason, the compound bow just has a lure to me. Like, I just enjoy, like, I'll just stare at my bow sometimes. I don't get that with a recurve. I understand there are guys that do that, and there's some, like, amazing builders and incredible shooters and stuff. It's just, I like rifles too, but they just don't, I don't know, they don't pull on my heartstrings like the compound.
For sure.
For whatever reason.
I'm literally on that same page where it's like, there's just something else with the compound bow. Like, I've tried trad, just target shooting and stuff, and it's like, that's fun. I'll shoot 20 arrows and I'm like, I'm done. But with my bow, I can shoot 1,000 arrows before I'm done. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I like to be precise, but also it takes skill to shoot a compound bow for the most part, especially when when I go target shoot, it's very rarely do I go closer than 80 yards. Like, I'm 80 to 150 yards just for whatever that saying is. Trying to keep it clean, but
No, I get it. Yeah, actually this year I went, for my bow this year, I went with a less aggressive cam, just because I miss like having as much fun just shooting and kind of playing with it. So yeah, although last year, like, the more aggressive cams, like, I'm a better shot, I find, but I just don't have as much fun shooting my bow. So
yeah, dude, it's the Omen, right? The PSE Omen.
Oh yeah, so
that one's pretty aggressive, isn't it?
if you get, so they just made updates across the board, and PSE hasn't really advertised it, but so all the updates that the new Fortis and Unite got, the pick rail, the vibration dampeners, the new grip, I'm trying to think what else I got. Fortis behind me. The pick rail, all of the pick rail, grip, vibration dampeners, and the new cams that you can get, the new cam option, that EC2 cam, which is basically the Evolve cam, but with the new spacer system. That's the other update. So all of the bows, in all of the flagship level bows in PSC's lineup, all got those upgrades. They made those inline changes. So like the Omen I have last year, it's the same bow now. All of the ones, but all the ones coming off of the line in Arizona all have those new updates. So I loved that bow last year. The cams didn't feel as aggressive because it's a 33-inch axle bow, so it's more forgiving. But yeah, if I didn't order one only because I already had it and I raffled it off to benefit Nodens. I miss it every day. But part of me seriously considered ordering the updated version with the EC2 cam, but I would have gotten it in 80 pounds because I have a Fortis 30 right now with that new cam, and it feels 10 pounds lighter than the S2 or E2 cams that PSE had. But it's kind of cool. Like this year, like the stats didn't really change for any of the manufacturers across the board, but we got way more options. So like before, whether you're talking Hoyt, PSE, Bowtech, like you had like 2 or 3 bows to pick from. Now you've got like 3 or 4 bows from every brand, and then multiple cam options. So you can get like really niche based on like what type of bow you like, which I think is pretty cool. I'm super stoked. So I'm gonna have to do a video, or maybe we'll do an episode with maybe we'll see if we can get one of the engineers on. But I want to talk about just like how to pick, out of their lineup, what bow fits what person, because I think all the manufacturers are having a hard time getting stuff just in stock at their shops. It sounds like everybody's just selling out of stuff. So
well, that'd be a great idea to get somebody on just to how to fit your bow, because it's like, if you're tall, go for a longer axle because you're gonna have a longer draw length, but like I don't know, there's a lot more that you can customize as far as feeling, the way you shoot, what you're hunting, and how you're using it.
For sure, aggressive bows, and every manufacturer is going to have a slightly different feel to it, and the way that they tune stuff, like like how they set up their bows. Like it's not always, the longer bows are more forgiving. Sometimes they shrink the brace height, so it kind of like keeps things consistent throughout the whole lineup. It varies manufacturer to manufacturer, but man, I don't think there'll be any shortage of stuff for us to cover over the next couple months, gear-wise. Obviously, lots of big news. PSE sold, what was that, last week or 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. I'm super stoked about it from what I've heard. I think it's going to be more of like a meat eater / Kafaru type deal, because it's all insiders that bought it and have like plans for it, just like you or I, if we were to buy a bow company, what we would want to do with it. So so I'm stoked on that. But
I think it'll be I think it'll be good for the industry, and I think as a whole, as PSE itself, I think they kind of made the right move. I think it'll be really good. Yeah,
I mean, it's options are never bad. So I shouldn't say that. Options can be bad, but I was stoked with honestly, like I shot most of the bows this year that came out, and it's hard. It's easy to be a consumer because you don't have any bad options, but it's hard because they're all so good. It's like, how do you choose at a certain point?
Yeah, I think with my YouTube series over the next little while, I think I want to do a bracket system with whatever bows I can get my hands on, and then narrow it down to like, this is my choice versus like my regular videos, X versus Y, Y versus Z, or whatever it is. Kind of just really make it finite on one bow for what fits and shoots best in my hand. But, chances are it's probably going to be a Hoyt, and people are going to be pissed saying it's a fanboy. But No,
No,
it's
but
just
you got a system that matches you. Like, it's the same thing with me.
yeah,
Like, the PSEs just fit me really well, right? And, like,
yeah.
now, after having a bunch and shot them for a year, like, I'm very particular. Like, I know exactly what I like and what I'm not going to
Hmm.
like.
Yeah,
And there's something to that. Like, it's cool, it's fun, jumping manufacturers every year, but it's really hard. Like, I found this 2 years ago because I changed bows a couple of times throughout the year. It's hard to really, like, understand the bow and how good you are with it when you're changing stuff up so much.
totally. It's like my old RX1 that I bought back, oh gosh, it's like 2016, 2017 when they first came out with that. I shot that literally still to this day. Like I still shoot
Yeah.
that bow, and that bow I can pick up, go 100 yards, shoot, bullseye. Like and not pick it up for months and just shoot it, perfect every single time. But then the like my RX-7, sometimes cuz I don't shoot that. I mean, I shoot it a lot now, but like when I'm switching bows every single year for like my top bow, my RX-1 is just my backup bow. My RX-7 Ultra, like I shoot it well, but I find that I have to relearn the bow if I'm not consistent with it, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. That was one of the things. So I went with the EC cam, which again, like it's pretty much the Evolve cam just widened to fit the new limb pockets. And like for
Mm-hmm.
me, what I really liked about it was it tuned and set up just like my PSEs did from 2 years ago, which I really liked. Like I knew exactly how to balance those bows. I know how they should have been tuned. Like I was able. It was a good mixture of like I was able to shoot as good as I could possibly shoot, but it was still a comfortable, fun bow that I could like go out and shoot all day with. Like my shoulder and my
Mm-hmm.
elbow wasn't shot after. So for me this year, like I love the bow. Like I actually wish I got it in heavier pound. I've got a Unite coming, but I've got a Fortis 30 right now. Um, but yeah, man, you just have a certain system. Like for
Yeah.
me, I like having a back bar. I don't necessarily love having a quiver on the side. And this bow with that setup just like works out perfect. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I had gone to my buddy's shop. He just kind of does bow stuff out of his garage, trying to start up his own archery shop. And he had an Omen at 80 pounds. I want to say it was like a 30-inch draw. So it was an inch longer than what I like. But
yeah,
dude, he hands it to
naturally
me. He's
more
like, try
short.
this.
Yeah,
I couldn't pull it back. I
yeah,
shoot 80 pounds like every day with my Hoyts, but I literally hurt my shoulder. I got about halfway, my shoulder popped, and I let down. And this is maybe 7 days, maybe a week before I left on
yeah.
my buffalo hunt. And I'm like, dude, I just jacked my shoulder. Like, I'm screwed.
And yeah, and with those, and that's like manufacturer always adapt. Like you're pushing the envelope, but they're also adapting to what consumers are saying. So like the EVL that preceded the Omen and the XF last year, the one complaint people were saying was it was a little slow. So they came out with the E2 and S2 cam, which is more aggressive. But so you got the extra 5-10 feet per second, whatever it was, but then it's more aggressive, right? So it's like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some people prefer the Evolve, some people prefer this. Like, let's just give them the option. So you've got two
Yeah.
cams that are efficient. But if you're a short draw, it's the S2. If you're a long draw, it's the E2. But yeah, and with the Omen though, I wouldn't personally recommend the bow to anybody longer than a 29-inch draw length because it still is. It's either a 5.5 or depending on the cam you get, it's up to like 5 3/4 inch brace height. So it's not going to be a forgiving bow if you're a long draw guy. Like look more towards like the Fortis 33 or the Mach 34. Like everybody I know that's shot that bow freaking loves it. But again, like that EC cam, like I'm going to order it in 80 pounds because I know with PSE, usually I can get anywhere from 15 to 20 pounds off of the max draw weight. So even if I don't want to shoot it all the way at 80, that
Mm-hmm.
EC cam's so smooth, I can shoot it at 75, and I'm still making up the same speed that I lost shooting an E2 at 70. So,
Yeah.
but again, that's just knowing the bows, having experience with it, like knowing the different systems. But yeah, hopefully you got guys like us that you can just listen to and save yourselves thousands of dollars experimenting.
For reals. It's a
We'll
never
make some
ending
money
expense.
for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm broke because of it.
Yeah. Let our balance sheet hurt, not yours.
Buying everything to test it out. It was like I I've worn a bunch of different boots. I wear Lathrop and Sons. They've been the best boots I've ever put on. But then I also just bought another pair of boots, not because I want them, but because I want to know what to tell people when they ask me. And so it's like, I mean, I got them for a discount, but it's still a few $100, and it's like,
Sure.
I'll see if I like them. I don't think I will, but I want to be able to give you an answer for my skinny feet that I have. I can say, hey, if you have skinny feet, I probably wouldn't buy them.
See, and I'm the opposite. It's funny that you and I, we weren't talking or recording at all, and we both ended up with Lathrop and Sons. So I don't know if Steven, who's one of the owners, is a fan of Bownerds or what, but I ran them last year too, and I agree. Like, most comfortable boot. I wore them whitetail hunting, and other than like when it was 80 degrees in Florida, in which case I just wore Vans because it's just too freaking hot for boots. but I wore them whitetail and like down to 30s the couple of times that I was up north and it got that cold. Like, I was super comfortable. I'm the opposite of you. I've got fat, flat feet. And I think the people like ask me to like compare them, and I've had a couple like nice high end boots. But the difference is, like, the fitting process with those guys. Like, the fitting process you go through, and the owners actually call you up and talk to you about, like, your foot shape and what you should be doing. And what I noticed with those guys is, like, because I've done some, like, custom footbed stuff in the past, and it's always, like, you sit down, like, you get the gel thing, whatever, and then they send it to you. But that's kind of, like, what makes your foot comfortable at rest. Whereas, like, Lathrop and Sons, the process they go through, the way they explain is they're trying to optimize your foot when it's working, right? So, which made a lot of sense to me. Like, they actually had me go up almost a full size than what I normally wear
Same.
a boot in. Yeah. And I thought I was going to be sliding all around this thing, and I wasn't. And my foot was warmer than it had ever been, which even just with just a normal pair of Smart Wool socks, like nothing crazy. But yeah, man, I'm.
Are you running uninsulated ones, or you have the 200-gram ones?
No, I'm pretty sure mine are uninsulated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the 200-gram ones, and
which makes sense for what that hunt that you had.
Yeah, which was because it was specifically for my buffalo hunt, but I used it November, December, January through snow. Like, I put these things through the ringer. I probably already have. I got them in. Gosh, it was maybe the end of October when I got those boots, and I've easily done close to maybe 500 miles on them. So it's like,
okay, yeah,
I've put them in, and this is the first boot I've had that hasn't fallen apart. Because I'm not super easy on my boots. I use them and abuse them, and it's like, I don't care. It's my boot. Like, as long as it protects my feet, I really don't care. I'll buy another pair. But this one, like, they literally still look brand new, and I've had them soaked in the river. I mean, 1,000 times, and cold weather, hot weather, like drying. Like, I'd come home, they'd be soaked. I'd put them by a fan. Never put them next to heat, just to let people know, because I've done that the wrong way. And Steven was like, make sure you never dry them out with heat. And I'm like, that's a good idea.
You mean like what I did my entire life? Yeah.
You don't dry them out with the fire?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just put them right next to the fire.
Speaking of Steven, we need to have him on the podcast. He has called me multiple times and was like, I need to be on your guys' podcast. So that would be.
I told him we have to have a podcast first, but no, I agree. We have to have Steven on because he is. Yeah, we'll call it Foot Nerds. And for that episode,
we will selfie pics.
Yeah, but the knowledge base that those guys have is crazy. Like, they asked me what boots I was wearing, and I told them, and they were like, "Let me guess." And they had already had like my foot measurements by then. And they're like, let me guess, you wear them not laced up all the way and loose and with just like they even just like said what type of sock I use. And I was like, that's crazy. They're like, yeah, that's the only way your foot would be comfortable in this. I'm like, how did you, like, I'm like looking around my room for cameras. But
no, it's literally like, because I've never had that experience with custom fit boots or anything. And it's when he called and gives you that hour-long consultation where he's like, okay, this is exactly what he said. What boots are you wearing? I said, these boots. He said, okay, I guarantee your heel is hurting, and you probably have some scientific name. I don't know what it is. My short layman's term is numb toes.
Yeah.
I've had numb toes since August. July. So over 7 months, my toes have been numb from these boots. And he was like, this is why. And I'm like, okay, let me try your boots. Not one hot spot, not one blister, not one numb toe, not hurting on my heel. Like, and I destroyed them. Like, I put them through the ringer. And like you said, he made me, usually I'm a 10. And like, I wear a 10 in every shoe, including boots, snowboard boots, like literally everything. And he's like, no, you have to be an 11. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm like, Steven, I don't know. Like, I'm questioning the professional. And he's like, I promise you, just believe me. And I'm like, dude, my foot's I'm going to be wearing Shrek shoes. There's no way.
I'm picturing just bashing my toes into the front of the boot the whole way down the mountain. Yeah. But I wasn't.
They know what they're talking about. And you just got to trust them.
That's it. Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Yeah, no, those guys are so on point. And it is like, if you go through the whole custom boot, like, it's not cheap. Like, you're talking about like a $1,000 system, right?
Yeah.
But if you're somebody that like we all know those guys, like, you have that dad or that uncle with like the jacked up foot, which is the freaking cantilevers coming off the side, like, you know, you see them in the gym all the time, right? It's like those are guys that have just been shoving their feet into improperly sized or fit boots for their entire life and just like gutting it out, you know.
What gets you around the mountain? How can you go hunting?
Yeah.
Your feet.
Yeah. If you're, and especially if you're somebody that already has, like, plenty of guys already have pain, and girls have like pain and issues with it. So like, it's definitely, like, it's worth investing. Like, if you're like me and you're on flatland for the majority of it, like, honestly, I told Steven, I was like, dude, I feel like a poser wearing this to go hog hunting in Florida. Like, this is overkill. This should be on a sheep hunt in Alaska right now or British Columbia or something. But no, they're seriously the most comfortable, not even boot, just like footwear that I own, for sure.
Yeah. It's like, because everybody's like, dude, why would you get custom fit boots? And I mean, full disclosure, I got them for free. I did the whole consultation for free with Steven. Yeah. But yes, it is scary to go spend $1,000 on a boot. I would spend $1,000 on a boot tomorrow, on this boot, because I now know. It's hard to put trust into something that you don't know, and I get that. I felt that. I understand that. But I'm now telling you, like, so many people now that have similar sized foot, I'm like, just throw my boot on. I don't care if you're a 9 to a 12. Just put it on, and I promise you, there's a different. Yeah, it's custom to my foot, but you'll feel the difference than throwing it on a general boot that you go buy at Sportsman's Warehouse. Like,
yeah, no,
100%. It's the craziest thing.
I remember a couple years ago going to Salt Lake City for TAC. Like, I got off the plane and I had messages from buddies who were there already from out east, and they're like, dude, stop by Black Ovis and buy us new boots, because their feet were just wrecked. You know, and if you're investing and you're doing all this time, and again, like, they're gonna last. So it's one of those things where, like, just make it easier. It's like having it's like you wouldn't go take a JanSport backpack up the mountain, you know, like. It's just invest, and if nothing else, like, if you have a pair of boots that you really love, like, I would definitely say, like, go through their fitting and do the custom footbeds, because it's just going to make them that much better.
Yeah. I think that's what made the world a difference, because I have a skinny foot, but I have a kind of a high arch. I don't know. I got long toe. I don't know. I got a weird foot, and so I probably wouldn't be very popular on my foot page, but anyway.
Bownerds OnlyFans for cheap. Yeah, we're not selling anything there. We're not
$1 a month.
Yeah.
Help fund. No, it's, I mean, another shameless plug to Lathrop and Sons. It was.
No, I will gladly.
It changed my life.
Yep, I've had a lot of conversations with those guys, and just a good family-owned business too. So super cool to support them, and they kill big deer too.
They do.
In Illinois, yeah.
And he's got good stories too. When he calls me and tells me stories and asks for my stories, I have to plan at least a 2-3 hour window to talk to him on the phone.
I was gonna say, just if you're going to become a customer, make sure you just carve out part of your schedule for those consultations, because. Yeah, you will will get to talking.
Yes, absolutely. I still have yet to call him about my bison hunt. He called me while I was at the Hunt Expo here in Salt Lake,
You
and
better
I'm
get
like,
this video turned out, man.
oh, dude, So I'll get the audio, the voiceovers for some parts tomorrow, and I'm hoping it'll be done by this weekend. Is
Are you
what
gonna
Isaac
enter
said.
it into any film competitions or anything?
So since it was a late hunt, being in January, we kind of missed a lot of deadlines for a lot of film festivals for this year. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna for sure be putting it into everything next year. So
Dope. Awesome.
and I will say from the little clips that I have seen, I'm pretty confident that it's gonna win quite a few
Cool.
film festivals. Isaac's a wizard. He's
Sick.
yeah. I'm gonna cry my freaking eyes out when I watch it. He won't let me see it yet, and so he's like, dude, I have to FaceTime you and when you watch it. I gotta be your. It's either FaceTime or he's flying out to Utah just to watch me watch it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
He's a solid guy. He's awesome. But
Dope.
we're hitting about roughly an hour mark, so I don't want to take up anybody's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, whatever day.
Whenever we get this thing uploaded, yeah, that's the next
It could be like the Vector One method archery that never gets uploaded.
We'll just do a new intro for that video, and then we'll release it after this.
Maybe yeah, either that or just have to record another one. So I'm pretty sure I was solo on that one, so
Yeah, you were so on that. Well, now you guys have more to talk about. Too.
exactly. So
yeah.
now I know who they are.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, if you guys haven't, make sure you subscribe, follow along, whether you're listening to Spotify, YouTube, wherever. And yeah, we're gonna be pumping these out more. We already kind of blew the lid on who some of the future guests will probably be, but I'm sure we'll have more surprises as well. So I'm super stoked. Thank you guys for hanging around, and excited for 2023. Should be a big one.
So stoked.